Thank you for staying with us. The ranks of the Academic Staff Union of Universities appears to have been divided as the federal government recently presented certificates of registration to two breakaway factions of the Academic Staff Union of Universities. The new unions, the National Association of Medical and Dental Academics and the Congress of Nigerian University Academics, which will exist alongside ASUU, have resolved to resume work. How does this move threaten the existence of ASUU, and what does this mean for Nigeria's education system? Joining us in the studio for this discussion is Inibehe Effiong, lawyer and social development advocate. Good morning. It's good to have you on TVC Breakfast.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Now, let's get your impression of this decision by the federal government to register these two new associations, so to speak, NAMDA, that is the Nigerian Association of Medical and Dental Academics, as well as CONUA, Congress of Nigerian University Academics.
Well, let me start by saying that the ongoing strike that has lasted for the last getting to 7 to 8 months,
yes,
should be perceived as a national embarrassment. That you have a country that is so blessed in human and natural resources, bedeviled by such prolonged industrial disputes, industrial conflict in the education sector, and yet it appears that at this time there is no clear indication of an immediate resolution. Now, the Academic Staff Union of Universities have made the point, and of course it is true that in 2009 they entered into an agreement with the federal government of Nigeria regarding funding of universities, university autonomy, payment of earned academic allowances, general condition of service, matters relating to visitations, and several other areas that they had reached agreement on. Of course, that's what I said, that the federal government has defaulted regarding implementation, and they threatened to go on strike, and that is where we have been. They eventually embarked on this strike that has not been resolved. Now, is the federal government saying that the solution to the trade disputes, in quote, I said in quote, between ASUU and the federal government can be resolved by polarizing or burgonizing ASUU? What is the purpose? What is the intention behind the sudden registration of these splinter groups? I, for example, am particularly interested in knowing who the members of these new unions are. I have monitored conversations on social media since these reports came to light. I haven't seen one lecturer in any tertiary institution, not in my alma mater, or any university known to me, who has publicly expressed to be membership of these new unions. So who are the members of these new unions? And in any event, does that show good faith? The federal government has gone to court. The court had made an order. ASUU is aggrieved and has gone to the Court of Appeal. Are you not supposed to take steps to ensure that the real dispute is resolved
first?
Yes, because what is the intention? And I personally feel, and this is my opinion, that the Minister of Labor, Mr. Grace Nkeki, doesn't seem to have the temperament to resolve this issue. If you would listen to the conversation, the comments he has made, some pejorative remarks he has directed at ASUU and their members, I think at some point even describing some of them as roadside academics and so on. He has become extremely combative. I watched the video where he stormed out of the House of Representatives. Yes. I don't think that is the temperament of somebody who wants to resolve a dispute with intellectuals. I do not think...
So this is more of a power play?
Absolutely. I think Gigi is just trying to prove a needless point. Because my position is that, suffice it to say that you have considered that there are aspects of the agreement that has not been made. One would expect that the government would act in a responsible manner and then invite every person, institutions, capable of mediating and resolving this issue. The House of Reps had intervened, and we had hoped that this was going to be resolved. Because what the minister has done amounts to an escalation. It can only prolong the strike. I don't think registering these bodies is going to significantly have any bearing. We are waiting to see. Okay, they have now announced the registration. Has the strike been called off? Have lecturers resumed work? Who are the members of the union? Who is the president of this union in Uniben? Or the chairman in Uniben? In Unilorin? University of Lagos? University of Uyo? Who are the leaders of this new union that they have registered? ASUU has a structure that is well grounded in many years of agitation. That is not a structure that you can just throw under the bus.
But people have said that this is ASUU. Every government of the day, ASUU must have a problem with them. They had the 2009 agreement, and the federal government says that of the 7 issues, they have been able to solve 5. They said end academic allowances, they paid them 40 billion in January to February 2021. The EAA and EA, that's 22.27 billion was paid to them in 2021 and mainstreamed into the 2021 budget as promised. 30 billion was paid in June 2021 for revitalization, as they said. There is a UTAS and IPs crisis still going on. They said that they wanted to see how they could bring them together. They have said that they have made a lot of payments to them, and that what these people are asking for now is that, look, we want the backlog of our salaries for strikes that they created on their own. Now, I can see the mischief that is going on with this issue of whether they are coming up with CONUA and one of that, and so on and so forth. But the question is, why don't they go back to school when they know that this government is on its last leg? Why can't they, for the interest of the students, say, okay, it looks like we have reached a rut with this government. Let us see what we can do with the next government. Because what is going on is that 8 months have gone. The students, the lecturers, many of them are not losing anything. Many of them have all kinds of places they are teaching. They are teaching here, they are teaching there, they are making some kind of allowance, and the students are there, lying fallow. Why can't you say, for the interest of Nigerian education and for the interest of the students, let us go back to school and let us wait till the next administration, because as we have now, it is a deadlock. It is like what I call a Kafkian conversation. You know, with Kafka, somebody goes to a building, he never really sees anybody there, and that is where he's supposed to get something. Or a giant insect. Somebody, I have a conversation with a giant insect. You know, that kind of thing. That there's no conversation going on. Why don't we take the higher path? Go to school, just a few months, get it over with, then start with a new administration, because it's deadlock. So who is who here? Who is the patriot here?
Mr. Master, your sentiments are understandable, but the issues that predicated the strike in the first place is not administration specific. It is not tied to the Buhari administration. As a matter of fact, it predates it. And funding of education, revitalizing our comatose educational system, building laboratories in universities, paying academics, intellectuals what they are supposed to earn, compared to what their contemporaries in even other African countries are earning. And of course, making the academic environment learning and conducive. It's not a matter, with profound respect, that I feel should be reduced to the fact that the government's tenure is just about coming to an end. The government has had 7 years.
Yeah, the 7 years have gone.
Yes,
no, you're not going back now.
Yes.
The point is, what do we do now? that the education system is in a rut, the students are not going to school, and you know that you have reached a deadlock with this administration. Why don't you just go to school and bear just a few months and say, okay, let us see what the new administration will bring, because you're not going to gain anything by not going to school at this time, because you are not going to gain anything from this government. So why don't you say, okay, we are done with this government, let us go back to school, let's re-strategize for whoever becomes president next time, because it's not going to be Buhari again in 2023. Why?
Good question. If the Buhari administration has come to a conclusion that it lacks the capacity to resolve this strike, they should say so. Maybe ASUU will now consider resuming. Because...
But they have shown it, they have shown it already.
Well, the point remains that the federal government of Nigeria should not be personalized. It is beyond Muhammadu Buhari.
It's not beyond him.
No,
it's not beyond him. It's the president and commander-in-chief. Yes. He takes the decision. He himself in the what they call it, in the independence broadcast, he himself said that the people should go back to school. In other words, we have done what we can do. He says so. Well, we have given them what we can give them. Yeah. But what the people are saying is the ASUU is saying is that they should bring us the money. Give us the money that you are owing us. Give us, we want the money. And then they say there's so much corruption in government. You can't tighten the nooses, and you are saying that you don't have the money. You have the money. They are saying, the government is saying, how do we pay you? If we pay you this amount that you want for the president or the for the professors and so on, you have doctors, you have other people who also want money. So what you want is for the universities to be freed so that they can make their own money and get minimal contribution from elsewhere. But even the universities, they have the ASUU themselves, they have been accused of lack of creativity, lack of imagination to even take the bull by the horn.
I don't think it is that simple. I personally would not support commercialization of our educational system.
It's not commercialization. That's the best universities in the world. Don't rely on government. Don't rely on the best universities. If you can look at the top 10, top 20, top 50 universities, most of them don't rely on government money. They go out there and they use the resources, the resources that they can muster to enthrone themselves. I'm not saying that government should not add, but government should give them the money. And I understand too that there are some strictures, institutional strictures that will not allow them really go out on their own. I understand that. But those are issues that can be resolved, not with this administration, because this administration, to tell you the truth, is not ready to I don't have the time, given what their time, to even do all of that. So why don't you wait till the next administration and say, when that comes, then let us table everything on the table and see whether a fresh start can go on. I don't know how this fresh start will be, because they have had fresh starts from one administration to the other. There must be something wrong about the strategy of ASUU.
What other
there must be
something
something. That's what I'm telling you.
What other option?
That's what I'm telling you. They have not.
What other option does ASUU have?
Have they been able to really use the muscle of the National Assembly to get certain laws done? Have they been able to use that? They're just beginning to do that. What they are doing with the House of Rep. House of Rep now has come. We don't know the details of what they recommended and so on and so forth. But they need to galvanize the institutions of democracy to force the arm of government to do things that can be done.
For me, that will... Yes, it is an interesting advocacy which I endorse, but by implication, that can also be perceived as a vote of no confidence of the government of Nigeria, because you have people in the National Assembly who were elected to represent Nigeria.
Yeah.
If these are matters that has to do with legislation, in the House of Reps, in the Senate, they have committees on education.
Yeah.
What have they done about it?
They have not.
The House of Reps
Yeah.
has tried to mediate on this matter, and I'm making it clear
Yeah.
that even while that discussion is going on, you have the Minister of Labour acting in a manner that is counterproductive, in a manner that is contrary to what the House of Reps is trying to achieve. So for me, I still believe that the blame squarely lies on the foot of the federal government, the executive arm of government. Where is the president? Where is the vice president? Where is the secretary to the government of the federation? Why is Ndigi still part of this negotiation? Because from all indications, he has shown
He
clear
was
bad
removed
faith.
from the negotiation
some point.
at the point,
I'm
and then,
saying-
and then the Minister of Education was
came
put
in.
there,
I'm saying-
and then the Minister of Education said, okay, we have given these people some offers. We gave them offer
they
for
didn't present
salary.
anything.
They did not come with a counter offer. Because they said that
saying-
there's no need for counter offer.
I'm
We
saying,
had the ASUU here saying that, what is that? That was not an offer. That was, he didn't use one expression. It wasn't an offer, it was just
A drop of water in the
there was
ocean.
something, there was one expression he used. And almost like a decree. It was decreed to them that this is what you can do. No, but you have to come with counter offer. If they say they're giving you this, yeah, you have to come down from your high horse and say, okay, let us negotiate down to this. But they said they have nothing to
if you read,
and they denied that there was an offer.
no, if you read the resolutions after the meeting with the House of Reps,
Yes.
it was clearly stated that some form of understanding and agreement had been reached, and that it was left for this to be put before the president for ratification, to be ratified. But while this process was ongoing, somebody went to court. Somebody decided to create new unions. And even the president, who is supposed to resolve this, has even penciled the Minister of Education for national honor. We are not a serious country. You cannot have our universities closed for 7 months. And the Minister of Education is being given a national honor. So that alone is a way of telling us that you must continue with this strike.
Is that not the
Because
reason?
This is also, Mr. Omaseye, this is also about the character of Nigeria as a country, who we want to portray to the world.
Yeah.
I passed through public institutions all through my life, from primary to secondary to university. So I have interest in public education. When I was in the university, there was a course, a GST that we were taught called Introduction to Computer. And one day I stood up, I told the lecturer, I said, sir, every day we come here, you are teaching us about computer. You have never shown us what a computer looks like. That is the fate. That is the situation of public education of our universities in this country.
I agree with
So
you.
at what point?
I haven't known that. This is the way it is. Why don't you just get the children to school?
To learn what?
Well, but they have been learning. They have been
There
learning.
was a curriculum.
Well,
on the
there's a
ground.
curriculum. There are things going on. And even if they resolve their stuff today, they're not going to get all those things in school between now and May next year.
Valid
Are they?
point.
No, they're not. So
Valid
why don't
point.
you take them to school? Know that this government is done for, and then go and then move ahead. Why don't you do that? So it gives a sense that what the ASUU people are doing is they have become more political than actually educational in their own sense of what the crisis is. That they are more interested in making a political point than an educational point.
Right. You have made a valid point that even if they resume, things are not going to change overnight.
I'm not going to say
But
overnight.
where is the evidence that the government is even genuinely interested in reviving our education?
That's the point. If they are not genuinely interested,
So we must-
then
that
they're
is
on
why-
their way out. So why don't you let them go out?
That is why.
Why don't let them go out? Let them wait for them to go out. Go to school. If you have only chalk, teach you the chalk until you go. And then when the other time comes, then those who don't have computer can say, okay, we didn't have computer. We want computer now. The new government, the new president, this is the situation. We need computer now because these people who are there, they are not listening to us. We have had a Kafkaesque conversation with them. They are talking, we are not hearing. We are talking, they are not hearing. We are getting to a situation, in the Chinua Achebe's novel, when they were eating fufu. Everybody was eating, the fufu was a mountainous one. It was after the fufu had come down. They said, oh, you did there? Okay, then there's a handshake across the fufu. But this time the fufu is still big. There's no handshake. Everybody's eating on his own side. What is talking about?
Mr. Master, it seems you don't believe that this government is redeemable regarding this strike. But
both sides are not redeemable. That's what he's saying. So that is saying that there are two wrongs cannot make it right.
My
students,
but offers
no,
were made.
there's no,
as much as we are looking at perhaps the government not being redeemable with regards to this matter, but offers were made by the government
Yes.
to addressing this.
Yes.
So we cannot categorically say that the government did not do something to address
the
it.
offer that we made, were the offers made in good faith? 1, were the offers reasonable? 2, 3, what steps were taken?
What good faith is?
What steps were taken? Because I have highlighted the issues. And I also stated that it does appear that the federal government is speaking from both sides of the mouth. So for me, and this is the point, we must take a decision as Nigerians whether to hold the government accountable or not. Because if we continue to allow and say, oh, of course, I mean, we are most of us are affected by the strike. If we are not directly affected, we have relations, we have friends who are affected.
Absolutely.
But we must take a position as a country whether to insist on proper funding of our educational system or not. And let me make this clear. This president, part of the reason why he does not understand the need, the imperative, the urgency of resolving this strike is because the students attended Ivy League schools. His students have not, his students have not passed through our public universities. If Buhari's kids, if Buhari had a child who is at home today for 7 months, I believe he would be concerned.
I'm giving him concern about.
I believe he would be concerned.
I want to go to school. Go and do something. You have a point. I'm not disputing all of that. What I'm just saying is that ASUU is taking this matter more politically than educational. That there is no love between them. They say when 2 elephants fight, the grass suffers. Even when they make love, the grass also suffers, according to Liku and you. But this one, they are neither making love, nor even fighting. Everybody is on their own side. It's like two dogs that are growling at each other. But there's no fight going on. So we really want, if they want to fight, let them fight. But they can't fight. They can't make love. None of them has a romantic attitude towards the other. So why not just stay your own lane and say my own lane? Go back to school and leave the government in his own own situation. So at the end of the day, the students will at least gain something. If you don't have computer, at least you have chalk.
If we take,
if you can't see the computer, you can draw it on the wall and say, have a vision of it. Or you can take the picture from online and say, this is how computer is.
Time is not on our side, but if you could quickly wrap up your point in just a few seconds because we need to go.
The concluding point for me,
yes,
is that under Chapter 2 of our Constitution, the government has the responsibility to guarantee qualitative education.
All right.
And we have a duty to hold the government to that
account.
responsibility.